Hello again. Right, well that was weird. In this video, we are going to do authentication with Passport.Js using Node.Js. And because usually there's loads of setup and gump for these sort of things, I have made a bit earlier. So if you go to the link in the doobly-doo to my GitHub, you'll find this project, Passport.Js Authentication. And what you need to do, come over here, click clone or download. You can either open it in the desktop or download it via zip file, or you can click this little button here, copy it to your clipboard, come over to your command line, type in git clone, enter the doobly-doo, and it will download it for you nicely. And then once you've done that, you can do git checkout feature /start. Ooh, we've changed branch. And what that will do is it will change to the very start of the project that I'm currently on at the moment. I'm just going to stick on master so that when you go to the project, you can see the end of the project and then you can check the original version of the project. So if you want to check that on GitHub, you could just look here. There's 2 branches and you could have a look at the code on either branch. Okay, so brief overview of what I've set up so far. We have some basic HTML nonsense, so I'm not going to go into that, but that's in the public folder and the views folder. Actually, the CSS is in the public folder. And then I've got a server.js file set up, which is pretty much a bog standard Express app with Node.js. If you want to learn more about this sort of thing, I have other videos on Node.js. They will also be linked in the doobly-doo. And then I also have a empty Roots.js file, which is where we're going to do most of their authentication. Actually, most of it's going to be in the server.js file, but we're still going to do a teensy-wincy little bit of it in the Roots file. Yep, I think that's all that you need to know about that. Obviously, when you've downloaded the file, well, not obviously, and got it on your local computer, you're going to need to run npm i, and what that's going to do is, if we go back a directory, it's going to create a lovely little folder called Node Modules. Okay, and you can see that's there now, that little pink folder. Well, all that has our dependencies for the project, and so you don't have to mess about, entering anything you don't want. It's already got it in the package.json file, so all you have to do is type npm i. You don't have to bother typing loads of stuff out. Oh, aren't I nice? Right, so enough rambling. Let's get down to some coding. Right, so the first thing we need to do is go and create an M file. Okay, so in the source directory, you want to create a .m file. Now, I've already created one here. You won't have got this because it won't be in the Git repo because it's ignored. But you need to create it like this. So it's going to have a user ID, a user, a password, and a secret. Doesn't matter what the secret is. Clearly mine's not really much of a secret, but it's just what we need for authentication with Passport. Now, I should point out here, you could totally do this user ID bit, this user and the password bit in a database. In fact, I would recommend doing that, but this is just really simple to get us started. So, user ID 1, user is going to be called Clem Fandango. There we go. The password is going to be password. No, actually, that's not strong enough. Strong password. That's a strong password right there. And create that M file. Ooh. Okay, so we've created the M file. Now let's go and mess about with the server file. So what we need to do to create the server file. So I've already got some dependencies listed here. These sort of things will just help us make the actual thing work. Like I say, other video on these if you want to learn more about them. But what we're going to do now is we need to add some dependencies and we'll go through what they are and what they're doing. So the first one is going to be session. This is an express session. Basically, the idea is once you've logged in, you don't want to have to keep logging in every time you navigate around the application. So there is this concept of a session. You have a unique ID on your session, and as you log in, once you've logged in, you've got that session, and we can check every time you go to a new page on the website. You can go, this is your session ID. We know this is an authenticated user, so we're going to carry on letting you go through and you won't have to log in again. And we can also do things like have that expire. So you might have to log in. If you've been logged in for 12 hours, it might expire and you have to re-log in again. That's what happens if you have been on websites where you have to log in every so often for no apparent reason. It's because your session's expired. Okay, the next thing is unique ID. Okay, this is a dependency. All it's going to do is help us create a unique ID. That's literally what it's going to do. There's not really much to explain there. The next thing we need to do is have file store from the session file store. Okay, so we need to do, no it's not, it's session-file-store. And this allows us to actually have sessions on the local machine. And you'll see that when we start running this, if I have a look down in the bottom now, there is no folder called sessions, but when we start running the app and we've logged in, there will start to become sessions. So that's what this is going to be doing. Of course, one of the important things we need to do is we need to include passport. Okay, like this. And we also want to have the local strategy. The local strategy is basically saying we're going to log in like, normally, with a password, username, that sort of thing. There are other strategies you can use, like you could use logging in with Google, or you could use logging in with Facebook, or Twitter, or any of the cool things that the cool kids are doing nowadays that offer authentication as a service. But we're keeping it simple, we're keeping it real. I can't believe I just said keeping it real. Ignore that, pretend I didn't say that. So now we've got our dependencies. Cool. The next thing to do is define our array of users. Now, of course, if you're using a database to do this and you follow my other tutorials and using Node.Js for whatever reason, like creating a to-do app, for example, then you could just connect to a database, you could have a table, a lot of users, and so on and so forth. But for this, we're going to be really noddy, and we're going to create a little array from our M file. So we're going to say a little array. It's going to be like this. We're going to say ID. process.env.user_ID. Can't type. Okay, and then email. No, why email? Why? What? Why am I thinking email? I don't know. Whatever. Process.env.user, and then we need a cheeky little password, and that is going to be process.env.password. Okay, so this is all coming from our M file. Okay, we'll close this little thing off here. Extra cheeky. Okay, now what we need to do is we need to actually tell Passport what to do. So we need to say, right, if we can log in and this is a valid user, then do some stuff. If not, then don't. Okay, that was a terrible explanation, but it'll become more clear as we do this. Now, you could actually put this in a separate file, maybe an authentication file, but like I say, keep things simple in this tutorial. We're just going to do it in the server file. So we're going to say passport.use, and then we're going to create a new instance of local strategy. If you can type it, maybe you can't, maybe we'll never get there. And what this is going to take is it's going to take an object that's going to have a username field, like this. Okay. And it's also going to take a function. This function is going to take username, password, and this. A nice cheeky little lambda there. And what we want to do is we want to just get our user. So all we're going to do here is just say user is going to be equal to users 0, right? Then what we want to check is if not user, so this is a falsy check, then we want to say there's no credentials, there's no user, there's no point, right? Or we want to say if password does not equal user.password, then we can just say to return done null false, and then a cheeky little object with a message that's going to say something like That's, no, I can't do that. Should do the double quotes. That's, oh god, he can't type. Totally wrong. You goon. Okay, there we go. We'll do that. And that's all good. Except, of course, what happens if it's a good success? If it's a great success, well, then we need to return done, null, whoa, done, null, and user. And then that's been like, oh, we've logged in, it's all good. Okay, I need to close off this, don't I? Yes, I do. So close that one off. This is just where I have to check, because usually, if you've seen my videos, I don't close things off properly. Ever. Never happens. What do we need to close off? We need to close off use and local strategy, so we need to do that. Let's do that now. Yes, thank you, Vim, for highlighting things nicely for me, so I know what the hell I'm doing. Or giving the illusions that I know what I'm doing. Okay. We need to do a few things that sort of basic housekeeping, and these are serialization and deserialization of the user. So this is just so we can actually read the user. So we can do serialize user. Again, this one's going to, well, not again, but this is going to take a little cheeky function like this, and we're just going to return done null user.id like that. Close that bad boy off. Then we're going to do the deserialization process, which will be user. And then what do we need to take for this? We need to take an ID, another function, but this time it's going to be an ID. And what do we need to do? Let me think. Should have thought about this earlier. We need to do user. We need to get our users. Of course, this will be different if you're doing, multiple users or what have you. You'll have to iterate through things and what have you, and actually get the user. You'll have to do stuff like that with the database, which is why I'm keeping it nice and simple here. We're going to do, if the ID is equal to the user ID that we have, then we want to say, return that user. So we can use a ternary statement, and we can just say user 0. In this case, otherwise we want to return false. And then we're going to, why am I putting semicolons in? I don't know. Return, no, we don't even have to say return. We can just say done, null, user. Excellente. Now, that's nearly everything we need to do. The last thing we need to do is, so I haven't left that one in. Okay, so what we need to do is we now need to basically say how a session is going to work. So we need to say app.use. So this is telling Express to use our session, and we need to create a little session here. And I'll make sure I close these off before I forget. So we need to have an ID. I think they call it gen ID, and this is going to be the request. Then we're going to return a unique ID. So when we create a new session, this is what's going to happen. We're going to create this new ID. And then we need to have new file store like that. The secret, this is where we get from our m file again. So we can say m.secret like that. Resave false. We don't want to resave. And save uninitialized. We want that to be true. Oh. What? I can't type. Terrible. Okay. All sort of, basic gubbins there. Okay. Oh, he's pressing J. I don't actually need that one. I've already got it down at the bottom. Okay. Oh, and finally, even though I probably could have put this in the middlewares, we can just do it down here as well, just to be clear. Well, not actually, just so you know that it's separate from the start. We can do app.use, and we have to say passport.initialize, and then we also have to tell it to use our session, right? Again, so we use passport sessions. Okay, brilliant. Now, this should be close to actually working. We should be able to run the server soon, but we can't because we haven't got any routes yet. So we're going to go ahead and start messing about with the routes file. Now, to mess about with the routes file, it's dead simple. We're going to have some routes. So this is what you go to on the website. You're going to go to /so-and-so. We're going to have to check whether the user's logged in. If they are logged in, then we're going to redirect them to wherever they want to go. If they're not, then they're going to get redirected to the login page. So firstly, let's go ahead and mess about with some dependencies. So we can say we need Express again, because this is an Express app. And we need the router, so we can actually route users to different places in the application. So express.router, order of the imports matters here. We need passport. There we go. And we also need to require .env, so we can get our env stuff, our env file stuff, like that. Okay, so let's first create our login page. Now for this we're going to need two routes. We're going to need one which will be router.login. So we're going to say router get / actually we won't do the login first, we'll do the normal route first, then we can start running this and having a goosey gander at what's happening. So we're going to do / then we pass in a function with the request and the response, and we just say res.render index. An index is something I've set up for you, so you should be able to run this and it will start rendering the index for you. We can actually go down here now and I can run nodemon server.js, and it's moaning about something. I'm not 100% sure what it's moaning about. Let's just have a quick look at what it's moaning about. In the routes we are missing after an argument list. Okay, that's fine. So you can see here oh god, we are using, I don't know what I was going to say. I completely lost the plot then. Yes, I need to have this after that, and that will now work. Passport.initialize is not a function. Oh yes, because obviously I've spelled it wrong. So you can see here, oh yeah, that's what I was going to say. We are using nodemon. So as I make changes, this server at the bottom is just reloading. So we don't have to actually reload everything all the time. And now I need to check this again. What's it moaning at now? Usually we have this gubbins at the end of the videos. Save and why is it moaning at that? This is daft. Okay, let's have a look. What's it moaning at? Well, I'm in the wrong bloody terminal. Let's have a look. So we need to be back on the index. We need to have a look at this. What are we missing that I can't see? Now, it was moaning about something to do with initialization. And I think I probably spelled save and initialize wrong. I have. I'm almost certain I've spelled save and initialize wrong. Yeah, I have. I'm actually blind because I couldn't even find it on the page then. So we'll try that again. We'll say save uninitialized. Yep. Oh, it's moaning again. Maybe it's still moaning about the same thing. I don't know. Router uses function. What are you talking about now? Okay, this is fine. I think it's moaning about the way we've got the router set up at the moment, but yes it is. So what it's moaning about at the moment is that we're not exporting anything. I probably should have left that in the file, but we can just say module.exports router. Okay. Aha! Right, it's running. It's running on port 1212, the Roadies port. Okay, so we've got that. That's all good. Now, let us create the login port. So at the moment, this is totally unsecured. So you go to /index and you'll get the index page. But we want to, have a way of, logging in. I've already created the login forms for you as well. So just follow along with this bit and it will all work nicely. We can say router.get. I'm going to say get login. So this is basically going to be the login page. So say res again. So same sort of function we've been dealing with previously. This time we're going to say res.render, and then it's going to be /pages/login, and that'll be all good. And then, like I say, we need the second bit of the router, and the second bit of the router, and it's important you name this /login as well, because that's what it says in the actual HTML that I've created. You could change it, but you have to change the HTML as well. This is going to be a post request, and this is where we're going to post the login payload that the user uses to log in with. This is a slightly more complex bit of code that we're going to be messing about with here. So we're going to have the request, the res, and then what we want to do after the login, whether it's been successful or not. So we need to say passport.authenticate using the local strategy. We then also need yet another function. This one's going to have an error, it's going to have a user, and it's going to have info. So we'll create a new little one here. Why did that happen? That was not supposed to happen like that. No, stop doing that. Do what I want, computer. Okay, there we go. Right. Now we need to just define a few conditions. So we can use info, and we can just basically send an info message to the user. Basically what it allows us to do. So if info is not null, then we can return response. We can return response, send info.message like that, and that will just log in the info message. I've always found that to be a complete waste of time, but whatever. We're going to just do instead, we're going to do if error, then we're going to say return next and pass in the error. And then if there's a problem, it's fine, everyone will know about it. Then we want to do, if there's no user, we want to say return res redirect to /login. So they're going to have to log in. If there's no user present, when they try to log in, that's where they're going. They're going to log in. If not, then what we need to do is we need to say we need to log in. So with the request, we need to log in. So user is what we're going to pass, and then we're going to create another function that has an error. Okay, now again, if there's an error, we just want to return. I mean, I probably should have defined this error function elsewhere and then reused it, but oh well, we're too late. I've already typed it out now. Maybe it's something you could do to improve the code. Okay, so if there's an error, then we want to return next error. If not, then guess what, boys? We've logged in. Okay, so we can say res redirect index. You could also pass in where they were going. So we won't get to that in this tutorial because we don't need to, but we're just going to redirect to the index here once a successful login has been initiated. And finally, I think we have to finish something off by saying res next, but I can't remember. We'll soon see. So what we're going to do, it's moaning. I thought it'd moan. It's going to moan unexpected end of import. Okay, so I'm missing some gubbins here. I am almost certainly missing one of them and one of them. We'll move that over so it looks a bit clearer. Yes, okay, it's running. Excellente. Right, that's good. What we now need to do is we now need to protect our route that we want to protect. The way we're going to do that is we're going to create a little function. So we're going to say check logged in. Okay, and it's going to take the request and the response because we need to do something with the request and we need to do something with the response in either case. Whoops. So we need to say if not rec is authenticated. So if they're not authenticated, what are we going to do? We're going to redirect them to the login page. Okay, so do this. So res, so that's why we're using the response. Redirect to /login. And that's all we want to do for that. Is moaning about something again. I suspect there are too many things. What have I put in here that shouldn't be in here? That shouldn't be there. Haha! Yes! I got it without even reading the full error message. Okay, and one of the things we need to do, of course, I've completely forgotten, I nearly just went ahead and did everything, is I need to say check logged in. So then we can just do that. Do we need to just say check logged in like that? Yes. Yeah. I'm sure I have to pass the rec and the res. I do. Why am I even thinking about it? What am I on about? Of course you have to pass them. Sorry, I was being absolutely crazy there. I need to say that. Okay. So now what's going to happen is anytime we have like a new route we want to use, we can just call this method here. And if they're logged in, then it will just let us continue. If not, it will just redirect us to the login page. So if we go over to our Chrome window now, we can have a look at 1212 localhost. Oh, is authenticated is not function. Oh, I've gone wrong. Okay, aha. I haven't spelled is authenticated wrong because there should be a cheeky little T in there, I think. Yes. Okay, try again. 3, 2, 1. Ooh, got to log in. Okay, right. So now I've got to log in. I've got to remember my password and all that sort of stuff. So I think I was Clem Fandango and the password was strong password. We're going to press enter. Will it work? Will it work? No. No, it will not. What's gone wrong? Why has it gone wrong? Oh, do you know what? Do you know what's gone wrong? I'm pretty sure this authenticate is missing recres next at the end of it. And I'm pretty sure that's what we need. Yes. Okay, so we didn't send any data. So we'll try again. And this time we'll say strong password. Oh, what's going wrong now? Server cannot access cannot access user before initialization. Okay, that's fine. We are initializing user before. How is that? So what I've done there is I've tried to access user before initialization. I'm meant to access users, not user. Okay, we'll try again. We'll try and log in. This is going to be the third time, is it? Okay. That did not do what I expected it to do. So now we've got to look at more reasons why I can't code. So let's have a look. No, there's no error, of course. Why is it moaning this time? I wonder why it's moaning. I have a feeling I have done something terribly wrong and I can't see it. What have I done wrong? Yeah, if they're not authenticated, then we do that. If that, then we render the index. I bet I didn't get the password right. It's probably what is probably the problem. So let's just copy and paste that like an absolute noob, and copy and paste that like an absolute noob as well. Ha-ha! Yes! Okay, right. Oh, look at that. There's a nice little message for us there. Okay, so hopefully this has been interesting. This has been even more rambling and error prone than my usual videos, but I'd like to try and keep in the mistakes because sometimes I'm watching tutorials and everyone goes through it like 1.0 and you have no idea how they fix the problems that you were having during this tutorial. So hopefully this has been interesting. It's probably not been good, but you know, Yeah. Well, yeah. If you've enjoyed it, if you've learned some stuff, please leave a like at the end of the video. Leave some comments. Maybe you want to say, yes, this was an excellent video. You definitely can code. Or maybe you don't want to say that. Maybe you want to say, I enjoyed your error prone. I don't know why I'm carrying on talking. We've finished the video now. This is really the end. We've learned how to log in with Passport. It's been very good. It's been fun. There were many mistakes along the way. Again, I'm still rambling, but hey, whatever. Subscribe for more of this. Thank you very much for watching. I've really got to get good at ending videos. I'm terrible at this. Okay, anyway. Arrivederci. Guten Tag. Bye-bye.